Welcome to Dave TV for the 18th of October. Take two. I had to start over again because I got the month wrong in the previous one, and that's stupid. Anyhow, cut the crumbs out of my beer. Just had a beautiful breakfast sandwich. It's the bright and early on whatever. Got the on air light on. Sorry, Dina. Anyway, lots of news, lots of interesting stuff to talk about today. Um, I'm going to lead off with a letter I got from Doug Hill, the longtime Doug of Doom. You know, he's the guy that predicts all that horrible weather. Used to be at Channel 9 for many years, moved over to Channel 7. And somebody was saying how they don't think they don't see Doug as often on the air. And he sends me a very nice email saying that basically he's got some family issues he has to deal with. Specifically, his wife suffered a ruptured brain aneurysm, and she survived, and she's recovering, and he needs to stay, around her and be with her. He says, I simply cannot be away from home for 11 hours a day anymore doing the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock newscasts and radio newscasts. He needs to stay home more. So, he still does the evening newscasts on Channel 7, and he does the WTOP newscasts, but he says the 11 o'clock is just too much work. He needs to be home to help take care of his wife. So that's what he tells us. And he says, don't complain about that. I didn't complain. It was those idiotic mailbag people that complained. And, he just... So anyhow, got a really nice letter from me. I'll put that on the mailbag, but just wanted to tip the camo cap, which I don't have on this morning, to Doug. He's a cool guy. Um, got this from Kirk Clyde. Remember Kirk? He used to be the weatherman up there at Channel 45 in Baltimore. Anyway, he sent actually a very nice donation to my website, so I'll give him some nice press here. But it's just what's interesting here, Kirk. I think he's kind of, Kirk Clyde's weathering the storm. This shows you a lot of what a lot of these TV people go through, and a lot of radio people go through stuff like this too. He gives me a list of all the stations he's worked at in his career, okay? Not necessarily a chronological order, but, I mean, it's like, listen to this. This is stations that Kirk, has worked at. WLMD Laurel, WITH Baltimore, WINX Rockville, WPRW Manassas, WLSC South Carolina, WGMB Georgetown, South Carolina, WKSC in South Carolina, WTGR South Carolina, WSSC South Carolina, WHHY Mississippi, WQID Mississippi, WKDON California, Laser Hot Hits, the North Sea, KMST Monterey, California, WHJHG Panama City, Florida, WFIE Indiana, WALA Mobile, WABB Mobile, WHOA Montgomery, Alabama, WRBL Columbus, Georgia. We're still going. CNN International, WEZB Panama City, KPWB Sacramento, KHTK Sacramento. Somebody else has worked there. WNDU South Bend, I'm going on and on. WBFF Baltimore, WINK Fort Myers, WBRE Wilkes-Barre, WCIU Philadelphia, WFTX Fort Myers, WPHL Philadelphia, WHSB Harrisonburg, WPMT York, Pennsylvania, WHP Harrisburg, and finally WVIR in Charlottesville. So if my count is right, NBC 29 in Charlottesville is his 37th station. I wonder if anybody in broadcasting can top this list. Would anybody actually want to? And he says the list doesn't include stations he's done some forecasts for in Australia. Wow. So that's Kirk Clyde. He's a cool guy. There he is, Kirk Clyde. And I got his. No, wait, this doesn't have his address. I was going to stop by and say hello, but it's just a post office box, so I can't do that. Anyway, interesting stuff there. Okay, Red Zebra comes out with its petition, challenge. Anyway, this idiotic law professor, I do think he's an idiot. Law professor up there at George Washington University. I won't mention his name, but he's, filing this license challenge against one of Dan Snyder's radio stations, claiming that the station uses the allegedly racist term Redskins, and therefore should have its license revoked. And again, if we did that, if we took every station that said the word Redskins and had their license revoked, that would be almost all the radio and TV stations in the country. If you run a Redskins football game in the last decade, you get your license revoked. If you've said the word Redskins on the air, you get your license revoked. So that means WTOP gets its license revoked. That means almost all the radio stations in the Washington and TV stations in the Washington market, they all get their license revoked. I mean, this is bizarre. It's lunacy. You may argue whether the Redskins name is appropriate or not. It's a heritage name. It's been on the team for decades and decades. And most people say, it may not be the greatest name to use in this PC age, but to say that to even ask the FCC to deny a license because of it, it's just ridiculous. It's silly. It's ridiculous. It's silly, and I think that's one reason why a lot of you talk to people that work at law firms, and they do say a lot of our lawyers here are nuts. They quietly say that some of these guys just get giant egos and like to see their name in print and are nuts, and this is another case of that, I think. So anyhow, I'm not a big fan of Dan Snyder, by the way. I think the team is generally sucked under his ownership, and a lot of what he's done I think has been screwed up. But I have to back him in this case and say this is ridiculous. The FCC just come on, I don't know, unless Tom Wheeler's running for some office, he may be gunning for something else. Who knows? Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I don't know. Ay, 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 ay. So that's that. What else? There was something else I was going to say, and now I've completely forgotten it. Oh well. Anyway, so that's my big news today, Dave TV. Don't forget, help support the website. We've been here 17 years, and oh! I know what I wanted to say. Also in the mailbag today, a really cool little piece there from one of the radio trade pubs. What is it? I get all these radio trade. Jerry Del Colliano. He basically says, CBS is, probably has more all-newsers around the country than anybody else, but yet, little WTOP run by Hubbard way outperforms any of CBS's all-newsers. And I think if you read the gist of it, and I published it, printed it in today's mailbag, the gist is CBS's corporate radio culture generally tends to kill off, radio. I mean, that's the culture. CBS has this corporate radio culture that doesn't let individual stations shine. They put this like kind of mafiosa on everybody, and you've got to work through this crazy culture. And again, interesting little piece there. Same thing he says. Also, Cumulus has killed off talk radio, which I think Bill Hess is a good guy. Bill Hess runs WMAL. He's what do you call it? The manager, whatever the hell it is. And I think Bill has done some good things at MAL, even though the station still misses the boat on a lot of things, because I think it's that they need more mix it up on the station, and I think they're trying. It's funny to watch this whole corporate culture. The corporate culture is sitting on Cumulus, and then you've got some folks at Cumulus that are trying to bust through that corporate culture wall to make the station successful. And it's kind of like a war. And you see the same thing at CBS. And apparently Hubbard, you don't have so much of that. And so TOP. And plus, and you got to also say Hubbard wasn't really responsible for TOP anyhow, because they just bought it. It was already running pretty well before they bought it. So you could maybe say Bonneville and Jim Farley and Laurie Cantillo and everybody else, da-da-da-da. But anyhow, interesting piece. You can see it on the news. You see it on the mailbag on DCR TV. Okay, we're hitting the 9-minute mark. I'll keep it short today. Thanks for watching Dave TV for the 18th of October, 2014. Book 'em, Dano.